Well, hey now, everybody. It's the Rob from 1061 KISS FM here with my tag team partner in podcasting. You want to say hello, Mr. Jerry Valeri?
Hello. And we're doing this. This is the first time we've gone without the phone system since the incident of 2016.
Yeah, since the real TLC match of 2016.
We really screwed the pooch on that one. But we've done this system before, and while the audio can be wonky at times, it's out pretty well.
Yeah, and this should be a bit more reliable. We're using our work offices instead of our home offices, and I expect it to be okay. I'm really hoping this goes better than the TLC incident. I do apologize. The reason I am in this green room as opposed to the normal studio, and why we're on the Skype call as opposed to the normal high quality phones that we usually use, is because we have the St. Jude Radiothon today. If you're listening to KISS FM or any Town Square Media radio station today, you know that we've dedicated those studios to the Radiothon, and I'm not able to use one of those today. But I figure there was enough to talk about on Tuesday. We should still have our regularly scheduled post to post, and I'm excited to talk turkey with you, Valeri.
Yeah, because the difference between the Raw reviews now and the SmackDown reviews is the Raw is still WrestleMania, but they're doing it via Fastlane. Right now, there's nothing in the way for SmackDown. SmackDown is just, from here on in, it's Mania.
Yeah, SmackDown is they're on the road to WrestleMania. They have no more pay-per-views up until the show. And see, unlike post-Royal Rumble, the 2 weeks that we've had there, this week really felt like we're starting to realize where SmackDown's going a little bit with WrestleMania. Although more questions than answers for me, especially with the way the show went off the air last night. Because I say last night because I watched it yesterday. It was Tuesday night.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah. In fact, Brittany wasn't home for most of the episode. I started watching it while she was at work, but by the time the episode ended, she had gotten home. And I even said, as they're going off the air, so they had this great main event. I love the finish to the main event. When Orton's music starts playing, I get excited. I know a lot of our post-show viewers hate the Randy Orton. To me, I'm not at that spot. I don't hate him, but I get the hatred for him. His music comes in, and I'm like, okay, what are we going to do? And he comes in there, he gets down on one knee, he pledges allegiance to Bray Wyatt, and I'm like, look for this, sweetheart. The RKO is going to come out of nowhere. Just you wait. RKO out of nowhere. I'm just like, here it comes, look for it. She's watching the TV, and then when that little emblem comes on the bottom corner that says they're going off the air, and there was no RKO, although we still have, 5 weeks to get to WrestleMania.
Plenty of time. And I thought the RKO was coming as he was starting to get down to one knee. His body was elongated, and like his knee wasn't down yet. And he did it with his body, and I know he did it on purpose. It looked like he could bounce.
Yes.
It looked like he could just charge and it would be on. I mean, and that's the cool thing. And I read it today. The first and only time I've ever agreed with Ryback. I guess he was talking about how the RKO is one of the most over moves wrestling, and it's because ever because he protects it, and you get hit with one of those, you don't kick out, and that's an issue for another day, where like I think people are kicking out of finishers way too much, but I thought he's gonna nail it. It's coming out of nowhere, and then he didn't, and then I was like you, I was waiting, and he never hit it. What's this mean? I still think they're going to fight at Mania. I believe it in my heart that they're
okay. So I do too. However, did you see what developed on Talking Smack after SmackDown?
I didn't. What happened?
Okay, so they've announced that there is a new #1 contender battle royal on this coming episode of SmackDown on Tuesday to determine the new #1 contender. Now, I'm not saying that means Orton's not going to WrestleMania against Wyatt or whatever. I still think that leaves plenty of opportunity for some sort of fatal four-way or whatever we have, or three-way or whatever. But they are going to be naming a new #1 contender supposedly on Tuesday.
Do you think they go a totally different direction? You think that this is where AJ Styles ends up? Like AJ Styles at some point needs a program.
I mean, I'm realizing it now. This is all getting to my plan as to what I said was happening before Elimination Chamber. I think you got AJ winning the #1 contender battle royal, and I think you're going to have, or I guess it could be Cena technically, and then you have somehow Randy Orton still having his. Over the next 5 weeks, some sort of dissension happening, probably involving Luke Harper, that will cause dissension within the Wyatt family again, and you'll have Orton mad at Wyatt, and I think that he will be inserted into that title picture. I think that by the end of the day, you're going to have definitely Orton, Wyatt, Cena, and likely Styles. And I guess I got to predict Styles going over on Tuesday, maybe Cena. Styles is the only announced name as of now.
Hearing people say that they're going to use Cena in a mixed tag match in Mania. Like, that doesn't sound great.
Yeah, I've been hearing that too. Those aren't unfounded. I'm hearing a lot of those. That sounds like a terrible waste. I agree. I don't think anybody really wants to see that. But you have to remember, I mean, how many confirmed names have we seen for Undertaker opponents? You know, like these things change all the time.
Waiting for Taker. What if Taker shows up and wins the Battle Royal? Look out.
Could happen. I mean, definitely could happen. I don't think so. Could happen. People, a lot of the post show are saying it's going to be Reigns and Undertaker, which is possible in my opinion. I'm not counting out that possibility, but they better put the pedal to the metal on that at some point.
They're going to have to push that. They're going to, and the minute they do that, they're going to need to find something for Strowman to do. You know,
right?
There are a lot of people that need something to do.
Strowman Strowman doesn't need, if you have Strowman face Undertaker, you don't have to worry about turning somebody. You got Undertaker and Strowman. And especially if you get Strowman to go over Undertaker, which wouldn't surprise me, because if it is Taker's, by the way, there's no more streak. Taker, I do believe, is happy to put people over even at WrestleMania. I think it's Vince who's been protecting the streak and not Taker specifically. If you put someone like Strowman over Undertaker, or even if you don't, Strowman gets that rub, you know, and I think that's a better choice than Roman. Although let's be honest, when do we cash in on Reigns and you know, cut our losses, so to speak, and give him that heel turn? If it is Roman as a heel against Undertaker as a face, I think I'm cool with that.
I've determined that I'm cool with Roman Reigns when he's not chasing the title.
I don't hate him.
He's away from the title. I'm fine with him.
I agree. That used to be my stance on Cena. Cena's hasn't bothered me in a long time, to be honest with you.
Cena hasn't bothered me in a long time because Cena, and I know it's also who he's in the ring with, but Cena has been putting on killer matches. He's been putting on 4- and 5-star matches, not just with AJ Styles, but you go back to the U.S. Open challenges that he did with Cesaro. He was putting on great matches. He's just consistently, he's really brought it.
Absolutely. And
he's at a point in his career where he doesn't necessarily need to anymore, and he still does.
Another really good point. I pretty much, all my resentment towards Cena, it has gone away. My only real resentment was how much he was forced down our throats for a time. And I feel like that's not an issue anymore. And now all that has just been compounded to Roman Reigns. It's a force down our throat thing. It's a square peg in a circle hole kind of thing. And it's just it's time for us to I think we should really give him a shot as a real heel, because that, I think, is just best for business. I know he does sell merchandise. Anyone you put in that position, like imagine if you got a guy that fluidly is a baby face, that the whole crowd kind of wants to be a baby face. That person's going to sell merch too if you put the Roman Reigns jetpack on them. So I would give him a shot as a heel personally, you know, and now's the time. Right.
So there were a lot of questions there. I really liked the build of the main event, and I liked that. That was a great match on SmackDown that they gave us with that triple threat.
I love the special. I agree. The match was fantastic. I loved especially the finish when AJ was going for the forearm. Cena knocks him off the ropes, but that bounces him off the ropes right into his sister Abigail into the pin. I thought it was beautifully executed.
You know, for some reason, they've tried it for like 5 weeks in a row, attacking Kalisto, attacking him outside the ring, beating him up and being brutal and, you know, merciless Ziggler. And while I can't say he's not talented, Ziggler hasn't been able to succeed. Baron Corbin did it. That attack on Ambrose where you don't see what happens and then he comes dragging him out, that was powerful. That was perfect. That's the backstage brutality that Ziggler's been trying to pull off and has failed. Baron Corbin is coming off, and then he cut a quick little promo in the back. Boy, he's coming off looking like a star. This program with Ambrose is going to benefit both of these guys, I think.
He's having a plus 2017. The note I have about Baron Corbin is that he is finally being used properly. It took them long enough, but this is the first program he's been in where he is being used properly. He's being used to his full potential. This could be a real money program for both of these guys if they can handle this.
Yeah, I hope that they can really pull it off. And I'm praying that it gets some kind of a cool stipulation, some kind of a good thing. And I hope, you know, with Dean Ambrose being the Intercontinental Champion, I know that they've done like 7-man Intercontinental ladder matches in the past couple WrestleManias. I hope they don't put these two in with like 5 other guys, unless they plan on moving it further down the road. I'd like to see this as a one-on-one.
Yeah, although I'm not opposed to having a multi-guy ladder matches. Those sometimes wind up being the best matches of the night. I thought that SmackDown last night again suffered from that limited roster that the brand split has saddled us with. They used the term rematch several times. For example, John Cena enacted his rematch clause last night. We got Becky Lynch and Mickie James. This is 2 nights after after Elimination Chamber, the same exact match. And then look what's coming up.
That's not a match anybody was clamoring for the first time.
Absolutely not. But there's nothing else for them to do. Plus, I learned a little more about this. But look what we got next week, Jared. We got Alexa Bliss in a rematch for the women's title. It looks like, now my understanding is the injury to Naomi is somewhat legit, although not that serious. So I'm expecting her to wrestle next week against Alexa Bliss. And this is the match we just saw. And this to me is not getting enough attention. I'm the only guy I hear complaining about this. And this is such a huge problem that both shows are having that is a direct result of the roster, the brand split. And this to me is just not getting enough hate because this to me is terrible.
Yeah, they're since you've been bringing it up, I've been noticing it more, and it's starting to wear me down. You know,
yeah,
I notice it. It's most obvious with the women's matches because they're really repeating those a lot.
They should not be on 2 different rosters. They just shouldn't.
And the Tuesday SmackDown consistently looks like the pay-per-view that preceded it. And it usually does. I mean, like, you can usually take 3 matches from the pay-per-view and expect to see them again on SmackDown. That's a problem. The most egregious, I think, was the fact that they gave us the same segment with Dolph Ziggler, Apollo Crews, and Kalisto for 4 weeks in a row. I mean, the same, Rob.
Yeah.
And it made me hate all 3 of them. It made me just again, and it made me continue my disinterest in Kalisto and my disdain for Apollo Crews and his dumb smile.
So I don't have the actual card in front of me. I didn't take a note on what I'm about to say, but so think about everything that happened on SmackDown on Tuesday and compare it to the card on Sunday. You had Cena, Wyatt, AJ, who all were in the same match on Sunday. You had Alexa Bliss still in the program with Naomi, although that match is taking place next week, a straight-up rematch. You had a straight-up rematch, Becky Lynch versus Mickie James. You had the American Alpha taking on Ascension, who collided the night before, although it was a tag team turmoil match. I mean, but
it was also the final match. That was the final one.
Yeah, I mean, this was all recycled from some sort of some sort of conglomeration of 2 days prior. And that's a real problem. And I'll also tell you this, because of the limited roster, I don't know what kind of choices they really had. Let us not forget what Mike pointed out on the post show. Every wrestler was used, with one exception being Jack Swagger supposedly, on the show on Sunday. So I really don't know what kind of options they had. That just really shows how shallow the roster is. They are doing a lot with it, but it's too shallow.
Well, that's why, I think when up, it would be, sure, it could be Reigns, and sure, it could be Braun Strowman, but more than those guys needing to work with the Undertaker needs to be on SmackDown, because they're lacking bodies and they're lacking big marquee matchups for SmackDown. Like, if we're not careful, we're going to have another Shane McMahon match at WrestleMania, and that's going to be one of SmackDown's marquee things.
Oh, they're already talking about that.
Are they're not? Who would he fight?
Who did they say? Man, I want to think it was either, it might have been Miz or AJ.
Okay. Miz makes some sense because he's constantly tormenting Daniel and Shane. AJ, okay, so I get it. Shane's good, and Shane does some great spots, and he does some crazy stuff with his body, and he jumped off a Hell in a Cell. He's earned the respect of the back, and he's done it his whole career as a wrestler. I see that. But a non-wrestler in a WrestleMania match with arguably the most talented superstar on your roster in 2017.
I don't think
that AJ have a 5-star match with someone that can put a 5-star match on with him.
To me, the problem is, for some reason now, Shane McMahon has entered this Undertaker Triple H echelon, and this is not necessary either. First of all, I don't like that echelon, the echelon of people who are superstar-y enough to just appear once and get a WrestleMania payoff. But now we have Shane as that guy. Like, I like Shane as much as the next guy, don't get me wrong. He's got some great matches under his belt, but he is not in that spot. Drives me crazy.
Right. I'm with you 100% on that. I didn't know that they were already considering him for a match. I was afraid cautionary tale. I was thinking, like, if you don't beef it up here, you're going to have him. And you're like, well, they want him. And I'm like, well, screw me then.
Well, and I don't want to continue screwing you while you're down, but I know you've got your heart set on this, but I really have to tell you, I don't think Undertaker is going to be on SmackDown.
That's a mistake.
I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying I don't see it happening.
Why are they doing this? They've already got Brock and Goldberg. They've already got Samoa Joe now, and that whole big thing, and the allure of him debuting. They've got Triple H potentially. You've got Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. You've got Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. You've got your matches. Now, what does SmackDown have? Let's look at their big WrestleMania matches. Let's take a gander at these. Okay, so you've got AJ Styles, not wrestling anybody yet. You've got John Cena. We're not too sure. You've got Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. And then you got Naomi and Becky Lynch and my mom, and like, I'm excited about Dean Ambrose and Baron Corbin, but that's not a main event. It's not. They don't have that top tier, and the top tier guys that they have, they're just
yep.
Who knows what they're doing? And watch them put them all in one match, and then they'll have, like, God Almighty.
It's okay, bud. Don't let it get you down. We still have 5 weeks for this tape. What's that?
I'm annoyed by it.
I can tell.
Because the writing on SmackDown has been good. And I think the writing consistently has been better. But you're right. They don't have the bodies. And they keep putting the bodies on Raw.
They could have the bodies if they would just hanker down, get over this brand extension, and realize you can have the same angles literally match for match without a brand extension. That's what they got to do.
I'm tearing I'm teetering on the edge of conspiracy theorist fan. Like I know it would sound crazy. I don't want to say it. To sabotaging SmackDown on purpose. But I'm there. I feel it
No,
in my
he's
bones.
not. That doesn't make any sense, though.
I know. I haven't slept much.
Let's not be that guy. Let's not go into conspiracy theories yet.
I don't want to be that guy. I haven't slept much. We're just gonna move. Let's just move on.
Before, I don't have much else. Let me ask you though, with the card we're looking at right now, like let's just say a lot of our theories are true. You got Rollins and Triple H. You got Goldberg and Lesnar. You got Jericho and Owens. You've got let's just say a fatal four-way for the SmackDown title, just for argument's sake. And let's just say for argument's sake, you got Corbin and Ambrose. Are you excited about WrestleMania yet?
Yeah,
I'm not.
a little bit.
That's not an impressive card to me. It's okay.
I'm impressed with the. It depends how they do it. You know, it's like I'm excited for the fun and the atmosphere of like Brock and Goldberg, but that's not gonna be a good match. It's not gonna be a good match at all. But you look at the talent that they have. They've got some of the best talent they've had in years, and if they can keep them healthy there, you know, I have a lot of faith in Dean Ambrose and Baron Corbin to put on a great match. I have a lot of faith in AJ Styles to put on a great match, and now John Cena. I'm a big fan of Bray Wyatt. Maybe the stories themselves aren't super compelling, but the talent that they have, the Sami Zayn, if you put him in like a big mixed ladder match with a bunch of dudes, Kevin Owens, there's going to be some quality wrestling. I really truly think so.
I mean, there always will be, based on the fact that it's WrestleMania and the best wrestlers in the world are in the WWE.
Plus, last year's Mania sucked, so I feel like this will be better than that.
Yeah, I also forgot to mention Undertaker and Reigns if we're going with the hypotheticals that we're talking about here. But yeah, what's that?
That's gonna suck.
Especially if it's face versus face. If it's two baby faces, I couldn't care less about that. But okay, I don't have anything else to throw in there unless you do.
Just about 4 or 5 conspiracy theories that I'm coming up with off the top of my head.
Well, cool. We can talk about those more on Tuesday because it's going to be our next episode. What's that?
No, we don't want those.
Hey,
we don't want those. Hey, this worked out. I think this did all right today with the no phone.
I think when I watch it back, I'm going to be longing for the better microphones that we used on a normal basis. But I mean, this was no TLC, thank God.
Right. Well, I'm not on top of a ladder, so you never really know.
Plus, you left the missus with the dishes today.
Yeah, we didn't start the podcast with me fighting with my wife, which actually was the best part of that particular podcast. If anyone
we certainly can agree on that. Then I'm sorry I don't have any music this time, but for myself, the Rob, and my tag team partner in podcasting, Jerry Valeri, thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Ba-dum-bum.
We'll see you on Tuesday.
That was the music. I gave you your out.
Oh, do it one more time.
Bump.